is ioEther, and I'm just going to play a little bit of Gauntlet. I talk a little. So I am sorry that there wasn't any video yesterday. The reason for that is actually quite simple. I recorded an entire game and went to put it on YouTube and everything, and then figured out I'd already uploaded that exact same game. Oops, that's bad. That is bad too. I need to not. So that's the reason that you guys didn't get a game yesterday. I did record one and everything. It just, come on, don't. It just didn't make its way to YouTube. And by the time I realized my mistake, it was too late in the day to make another one. So yes, hopefully today's game is not a replay that you've already seen, because that would be really cool. This is ioEther, and we're back with some more World Tanks. So as you can see, this is Ronnok in his 268 object. Whatever. It's obviously a tier 10 game. It's Pearl River, and it's a normal mode game. Now, it's not really a tier 10 game. More like a tier 8-9 game with a few tier 10s mixed in. This is pretty much a dream mashup. Now, before we get into it, Ash is in his E100 in this game, and over there in the 704 is Ronnok. So they are his platoon mates, and they will be assisting him, maybe, on this journey. And I say maybe because of the fact that Ash is heading off one way, Ronnok's heading off another, and Ronnok's going yet another way. So I don't know how much support he's actually going to end up with. Before we get actually into the battle, though, shameless self-promotion needs to happen, right? Come on, our Argent, get out of our way, get Ronnok through. He's going to be the star of this game. He needs to get to the front. Thank you. Yes, so, Facebook, Twitter, and Duckster links are all in the description below. Go ahead, hit me up, talk to me. I want to hear from you guys. Second off, I'm going to try and get into the routine of calling you Ethernauts. If you think it's a horrible name, or you have a better one, tell me. Otherwise, you're stuck with Ethernauts. I love the pun of it and the play on words. It just makes me happy. If you like the video, please hit the like button. It really does help me out a lot more than you think it does. And if you want to support the channel directly, in addition to hitting the like button on the videos you love, then my Patreon account is in the description below, and that's the most effective way to support the channel. Okay, well, all the self-promotion stuff is out of the way. Let's get into the game. Now, Ash is in combat. He's fighting a Destroyer of Worlds, E75, and the IS-7 up top. What's our win rate? So, we have an okay chance to win this game. Of course, looks like half their tanks have split between the pass up here for heavy tanks, and there's, yeah, the rest of them are down here at the middle ground. So it doesn't look like we're going to have a whole lot of trouble down here really early. Now, they don't have a whole lot of mediums. This is typically the route taken by the mediums. Oh, we have an IS-8 over here. An IS-8 which Ronnok can't possibly hit from this location. Ronnok, it doesn't matter how much you back up, you're never going to be able to hit the IS-8 from here. No, that doesn't work either. Now, there's a building in the way. There's still going to be a building in the way. You ever get the feeling someone can't hear you? There is a building in the way. Move. Thank you. There's... Ooh, you might be able to sneak a shot in there. No, no, there's another building in the way. So Ronnok is up ahead of us. Oh no, wait, he's right beside us. My bad. I didn't see him there. So Ronnok must have come down this way and parked right beside us, and I didn't notice. Ash is dead! No! We have lost Ash. Well, he's gotta be pissed. So their force up top completely obliterated ours. I'm gonna guess that had something to do with the Destroyer of Worlds shooting somebody. Probably for, if not maximum damage, most of their health. I'm guessing the Tiger 2 or the E75 got blown away through the side of their turret or something like that by the Destroyer of Worlds, and it leaves our base almost completely undefended. Now, we have a 5100 who is not AFK, but he's not exactly all here because of the fact that he's still at the cap. Ooh, the side of a 183. Yes, yes we will. Nom nom. Well, now he's in pain. And you notice that Ronnok took his bearings and then backed off from the bush. That meant that the bush is solid in front of him, meaning 183 has no idea where he got shot from. He figures Ronnok is probably up where Wordna is, which is why he was angling in that direction. He wasn't angling for Ronnok being over here where he is. Again, Ronnok backed up until he could only see an outline through the bush, and then fired. Being the bush solid in front of him, making it more likely that he doesn't get lit. Ooh, can he get this last shot off? Yes! Deadeye 7. Completely worth it. So, in a matter of a minute or so, Ronnok has fired 3 shots, got up about 1,500 points damage, and killed 2 enemy tanks. 2 tier 10 enemy tanks. Now, unfortunately, the opposite side of that is that our entire team is dead, with the exception of Wordna and a couple of other tanks. So Wordna has retreated back behind Ronnok because these two are going to make this their last stand. This is where they're going to hold. It's a very, very defensible position, and it's not easily overrun. Now, it is easily flanked, so they're going to have to watch out for that, because if they have, if this bottom flank fails, then they're going to have enemies coming up behind them, and from here and here, it's going to be fairly difficult to keep all the enemies away unless they can destroy a single flank before the enemies have time to realize what's going on. So, unfortunately, the downside of this position means they have to wait. You be really patient and wait for the enemy to come to you. Now, this is a really difficult thing, especially for newer players to get their hands on. The idea of waiting and letting the enemy come to you is a horrible, horrible feeling. And it's one that takes a long time to master, and a long time to figure out when to do it and when to not do it. However, in this particular case, they need to. They are slow burst fire TDs. They need to be able to fire and then fall back into some cover, so that they'll be okay until next time they can fire again. This is the best position to do that in, but it means they have to wait. And waiting has paid off. Booyah! That is a dead VK4502A. Really, Ronnok? That was your cover. You needed that. Why? Once again, figuring out which buildings are destructible the hard way. Now, I think that shell was actually aimed for Ronnok, but it connected with Wordna a little bit more, even if it was only splash damage, meaning that both of them have now been injured by artillery. It took off a lot more health of Wordna than it did Ronnok. Oh, sorry, it's early in the morning still. But it did, take health off Ronnok. Side of a Yag Tiger. I'm gonna pause it right here. Okay. So he got lit, obviously, because artillery landed a shell near. If he was lit, why is this Yag Tiger coming in trying to shoot this Indian Panzer, knowing there's a pair of TDs right here? Even if he only knows that Ronnok's right here, this was a horrible idea. Now he's got himself tracked in front of a couple of TDs, and he's side on. There's no way he can bring his gun to bear on Ronnok or Wordna. Both of them can pull up here and fire alternatively, one at a time, leaving as much of a gap as they can pretty much perma-track him. 13-second reload, it'll be like a 15-second reload on Wordnet's tank. They sit here, they fire every 7-8 seconds apiece. Very little likelihood of him repairing the track without using a repair kit, and they will kill him by perma-track. Ronnok backs off, lets Wordnet pull into position, Wordnet fires, Indian Panzer takes out the Yag Tiger. Didn't end up perma-tracking him, didn't really matter. Now, on the downside, the Waffenträger Panzer IV just put a gold round through the front? Yeah, it was the front of Ronnok's tank. So, he's got to be around here somewhere. Use the Yag Tiger's death to put a shot into Ronnok. Now, unfortunately for Ronnok, neither of those shots killed D1. But also, unfortunately for Ronnok, it did the Waffenträger off of Panzer IV shot did full damage. Also, their E100 is alive. Now, I am okay with this shot, except for the fact that he fired into a track. Why? You fired a high explosive anti-tank round into spaced armor and track. That was never gonna do anything. That must have missed. High explosive anti-tank rounds are excellent against thick frontal armor. They are horrible against space and tracks. Never ever ever purposely fire a heat shell into tracks or space armor. It will do very little, if any, damage at all. Much like firing an HE shell into tracks or space armor. However, if you can manage to get the heat shell into flat or nearly flat, even if it's heavily armored, frontal or any other kind of armor, as long as it's not spaced armor, it will probably go through and do decent damage, if not full damage. And that's what Ronnok is currently looking for. However, he's unlikely to get it, and I personally would be loading an HE round sometime soon, because of the fact that that other E100 has to come out in the open at some point. And having a HE round loaded for the alternate or the other E100 would kill it. Ronnok does average of over 1,000. There he is. Over 1,000 damage with his HE rounds. Even if that HE round doesn't penetrate and just splashes over the target, 1,000 splash damage, whittled down and everything, will come out to more than 39 full actual damage to the enemy tank. So an HE round could kill the low health E100. Of course, get it. Heat round loaded, so I understand why he used it. That must have been, I must have been wrong. So earlier, when Ronnok got shot for 700 damage, that must have been the, yeah, but anyways, that must have been an E100 that did that damage, because the Waffenträger off Panzer IV just did 200 and some odd damage to unless he had an HE round loaded, which I doubt, because why would you ever load an HE round against a 704 and a 268? So these guys are going to shuffle back and forth as they try and avoid artillery fire, because that's what's deadly to them. The E100 is going to have a difficult time coming in and wrecking them because of the fact that he's still so far away. Artillery is has less of a problem. Pause this first. Okay, so Wordnet's dead. The reason Wordnet's dead, that shot was aimed for Ronnok. Ronnok was the only guy lit Artillery is over here somewhere. He lobbed a shell, aimed for Ronnok, missed Ronnok, and killed Wordna. So, note to everyone out there working in teams, if you're ever in this situation and you're both low health, spread out a lot more than this. If Wordna had been over here instead of right here, he may have got hit by the explosion. It wouldn't have died from it. Now, I personally am enjoying some real irony right here, because the enemy E100 called Ronnok a gold-using noob earlier. However, now he's using gold. So he either thinks they're both noobs, or he was trying he could just be an idiot, but I don't think so. He's green. He was probably trying some misdirection, and is now being discovered as not as smart as he thinks he was. Now, Ronnok waited till he wasn't lit anymore, and he's running away. But he's not running away completely. He's going to go find the artillery. The reason he's going to go find the artillery is the artillery right now is the most dangerous thing to him. Now, yes, the enemy E100 could realize he's no longer there and run down and start capping. But is not likely to, and the reason is that most likely he believes that Ronnok, well, up until this point, he probably believed that Ronnok was still in his hiding hole, waiting for him to pop out again, so that he could take another shot, or at the E100. Ronnok could take another shot at the E100. By Ronnok waiting until he knew the coast was clear, he'd go and hunt down the artillery, and now it's a one-on-one. It's a one-on-one, and Ronnok can determine when the battle happens. Now, the E100, so the E100 came from up there, realized Ronnok had, tricked him and killed his artillery. And so he raced down this cliff, and his intention was to cross. That's interesting. That's probably because of the arc of the. Anyways, so his intention was to cross this area and get over to the cap. Either rush Ronnok's last known position from behind, or get up into the cap and force Ronnok to come to him. Either way, he didn't expect this, and this has sealed his fate. Yes, it's possible he could recover from this, but being stuck side on to an Object 268 when you can't even bring your gun to bear, there are a few worse positions. Ronnok fires into the front track. Ooh, now it looks like he did kind of manage to get his gun up, but I don't think his gun is high enough to actually hit Ronnok, or he would have fired by now. Maybe then. But Ronnok is repeatedly tracking this guy, making sure that he can't bring his gun to bear where he wants to. Now, Ronnok has switched back to standard ammunition for some of that, and the reason he has is because his objective for part of that was simply to track the E100. Didn't want to do any real damage, he just wanted to track him. Boom, good shot. I think I personally would have aimed for the engine deck and not the front of his mantle, but he is aiming for that really tiny little weak spot in the front of the E100's turret. But it doesn't matter, he just went straight through the front of that tank. That was an excellent game and a great comeback. 2100 experience earned with a premium account without his daily double, of course earning him his ace tanker, snag fire for effect, duelist, and bruiser in the process, earning himself the high caliber, grabbed the tank sniper award, which is something I don't see a whole lot of anymore. And one of the benefits that's not listed on this overview is that, or one of the requirements, sorry, is that you need to fire those shots from at least 300 meters away in order to get tank sniper. versus just accurate shots kind of thing, which is what the old sniper war did. And of course the Top Gun, which he richly deserved. Sadly, not quite enough to get his Radley Wolf, though he was pretty close on it. The Yag Tiger being that last kill that would have snagged it, killed by the Indian Panzer at just before the end skirmish there. Now the heroes of this battle were obviously Ronnok with his almost 7,000 damage done over 7 kills. But the Jagdpanther E100 on our team deserves some major props because he did some major damage himself. And Werner, as much as he's not high up on the list, did support Ronnok at the end there. And without Werner backing him up, Ronnok probably would have got overrun. The enemy E100 deserves props for his 5,000 damage. Unfortunately, his props get taken away for jumping off a cliff and getting himself stuck side on to his 268. Wow. 19 shots fired, 16 penetrating shots. That's very impressive and great work. Hilarious. 2,200 spotting damage. Now that's mostly due to Ronnok taking people's tracks off and then other people finishing them off. That's a whole lot of damage assisting with. Ronnok effectively did 9,000 damage either through hitting people himself or by knocking their tracks off and letting his friendlies take them out. For a 15-minute game, that was down to the wire and a beautiful, beautiful finish, making only 5,000 off that entire game because of the heat he needed to send out in order to secure the victory. That was a brilliant game. Thank you so much, Ronnok, for sending it in. Thank you all for watching and hitting that like button if you truly enjoyed it. Been ioEther. Have a great night. ioEther out. Hey folks, this is ioEther and we're back with some more World Tanks. Side scraping. How to counter a player who's side scraping. So the E100 is trying to side scrape. And you can see, let's see where. Ronnok is actually firing at the engine deck of the enemy tank. And, well, that makes sense, because Ronnok's gun is actually higher up than the enemy tank's engine deck, so he can aim down. And if he concentrates right, and if he, T-57, really? How did you miss that shot on the T-57? Really? That was like a free shot. So the enemy E100 is getting really pissed that Ronnok can somehow penetrate him without being, without exposing enough of his tank so that this guy can kill Ronnok. So Ronnok's, again, gonna shoot for the engine deck,